last game on the schedule. This is the one that I assume you wanted to say for last. It's also another tough one to talk about because we're kind of waiting on one thing to materialize before the game. What is Lamar Jackson's status heading into this game against the Green Bay Packers? Because last thing I'm reading here is Lamar Jackson has a chance to play this week. Again, for context, if you're listening to this, whenever you're listening to this, we are recording here as of 12:16 a.m. Central Standard Time, Friday to Saturday transition as we head into the weekend. And we still don't know what Lamar Jackson's status is. Doesn't matter, though. Doesn't matter heading into this game against the Packers, who have been one of the NFL's elite. If you keep up to date with my power rankings at Slumpbuster Podcast on IG, I currently have the Packers as my number one team. I put them officially over the Cardinals. I put them officially over the Patriots. Once again, Aaron Rodgers just has an opportunity to just officially declare to the city of Chicago that he owns you. He owns the Bears. He owns everything inside Soldier Field. And he wants you to feel that internally when you go to sleep at night. It's almost up there with, Tom Brady doing what he does to the Buffalo Bills on a weekly basis. That's still one of the best
Kansas City
Chiefs
week. To the entire AFC West,
or Russell Wilson to the Niners, or the Yankees to the Twins,
or the Giants to the Padres, or something like that.
I don't know. You guys used to beat us back in the day, but again, we're getting off track here.
Lamar Jackson
doesn't matter if Lamar plays in this game. Let's start there. Doesn't matter. Like from a standpoint, do you favor the Packers in this game regardless?
Oh, okay. I'm like, does it matter? I'm like, that's the entire Ravens.
It matters
season
from enjoyment. We know that.
The entire Ravens season hinges on Lamar playing. If you listened to me earlier in the week while Juju was on vacation over on Take It Easy, you would have heard just blind fury at the fact that Lamar Jackson, this season already felt like a wash for the Ravens, because for the second consecutive year, in the prime of one of the most talented players in the history of the professional sport of football, that 2 years in the middle of his prime has been decimated by injuries all the way around his team. When the Ravens were perfectly healthy, they were literally unbeatable. Like, they went 14-0 in the regular season after losing the first game of the season, trying to figure all their stuff out. Literally unbeatable when healthy. And we haven't gotten to see that version of the Ravens since. And I was so pissed when it looked like the Lamar Jackson, this wash of a season was going to extend into 2022 for Lamar Jackson. And this might be the beginning of the decline for one of the most talented players we've seen in the NFL over the last decade. And I thought the ankle injury was bad. He was being carted into the locker room, and I was just so angry. And now we find out he's going to be all right. He's going to have a Giannis Antetokounmpo type of recovery. He's going to come out and carry the Ravens to the playoffs. And I still am going to take the Green Bay Packers, regardless of whether or not he plays or not. Because Baltimore has just, even under the best of circumstances with Lamar healthy as of like before the Cleveland game, they were still at best a second round exit, who I really, really would have wanted to watch match up against the New England Patriots in the second round of the playoffs, because I feel like that would have been such an interesting playoff matchup. Maybe they could have pulled an upset, gone to the AFC Championship, and gotten destroyed by the Kansas City Chiefs. Like, maybe that was something that could have happened for them. But I still, even with that, not so much even like it's against the Baltimore Ravens. It's just the Green Bay Packers are really, really good at football. And courtesy of the Rams winning on Monday, they're probably going to again be the number one seed in the NFC. And the Green Bay Packers are just that good at football, where we don't know whether Lamar plays or not. And the line is still like 5.5 points in favor of the Packers. Now. 6.5. Okay. So even more than I thought. So yeah, I think if Lamar plays, the Ravens have a chance of pulling an upset, but it would be just that, an upset at home against the Packers. But I'm going to take Aaron Rodgers and the wonderful Green Bay Packers to win this week.
And I'll just get out of the way. I'm taking the Packers because I'm not going to take the chance knowing that Lamar might miss this game in general. But even if Lamar played in this game, and just fleshing out the analysis here, we know how bad the cornerback situation has turned for the Baltimore Ravens. Obviously, Marlon Humphrey's going on IR. Obviously, before the season started, this has turned into a nightmare situation in their secondary, and you're facing a nightmare cornerback in their secondary, Marcus Peters. I don't know why the name was escaping me there. Losing Marcus Peters and Marlon Humphrey. They are dangerously thin at that position now, and you give Aaron Rodgers a weakness to exploit. You give Devontae Adams a weakness to exploit. They will make you hurt. And the fact that the Green Bay Packers are also one of those teams that are really good at yards after the catch, really good at yards after contact, a matchup nightmare when it comes to this game, offensively versus defensively. And if it comes down to it and Lamar's out, Tyler Huntley, he looked fine in garbage time against the Browns. I'm not going to read too much
you
into
call
what
it
he was able
garbage
to
time,
do.
but they were one onside kick recovery away from beating
Fair.
the Cleveland Browns.
And that would have been one of the biggest embarrassing upsets of the year had that happen. Embarrassing comeback from behind. So obviously, we saw it earlier with the Thursday night game too. Obviously, the Vikings, if they would have lost that one, they would have been feeling that pain there. But the Browns were able to pull it out. Tyler Huntley, he's good enough. He's like ultimate light version of Lamar Jackson. He does similar things, but none of those things nearly as well. He doesn't have that type of athleticism. Yes, the Packers are a little bit banged up themselves. I believe, I don't know if it's Zaire Smith or Preston Smith that they're missing going in this game. Obviously, Jair Alexander, I think he's still out as well. Remind me, refresh me.
I believe that is correct, but I cannot confirm this right now.
Well, either way, the Packers have had a good defense, and if they have to face a backup quarterback, add that to just the list of reasons why the Packers should ultimately win this game.
Yeah, it looks like Jair Alexander is still going to be out, although it looks like he is practicing at this point. I don't know if he's going to play or not.
Step in the right direction as these games get a little bit tougher for the Packers. At this point, the Packers are on just kind of cruise control. Yes, they would, of course, like home field advantage going into the playoffs, make Tampa Bay have to travel to them, make Dallas or the Cardinals have to travel up to them. But their rest of their schedule, I think, who they got? I think they have the Lions one more time in there.
Lions.
I think they have the Vikings one more time.
I think they've done the Vikings twice
and the Browns.
At this point.
They also face the Browns as well.
They got a Browns in there. Yeah, the Packers. The Packers will probably come down to a tiebreaker to decide who gets the 1 seed, but I think 1 versus 2 is semantics. In terms of like, we know the Packers are a really good team. Like,
it's one more game too.
The bye
that does change things from that perspective.
The bye changes the math of who's going to advance in the playoffs, but I think we know the Packers are a very good team regardless of what seed they end up being. You had them number 1 in the power rankings.
I respect them. I know how good they are. And I wish we got a chance to see them versus Tampa in the regular season to kind of gauge how good those teams are against each other, to see if it's still about like that same level that we saw last year. But I guess we'll find out in January, right? If it gets
I feel like the Rams game was a really good gauge. I feel like them beating the Rams was a really good gauge of where those teams are. It wasn't like a chaos game where dumb stuff was happening, like against the Cardinals. Like,
yes and no. The only reason I say like no is because obviously Matthew Stafford still had to come up from his like bugaboo that he's obviously going to a team that he knew very well in the Packers, and, you know, has struggled at points in his career. The Rams traveling up to Green Bay, that's a place that they lost last year. So the Packers still had the advantage going into that game. I believe I selected them to win. I think you selected them to win. I can't remember.
I just meant as like, we know the Packers are better than the Rams, or at least we feel pretty good that the Packers are better than the Rams. Does that mean they're better than the Bucks? I don't know, because I feel like the Packers and Bucks are the 2 teams that'll make the conference championship in the NFC, and the Cardinals and the Rams are the 2 teams that'll lose in the second round to the Bucks and the Packers. That feels, you know, it feels like how the NFC is shaking up in my book. And maybe this will be like the Cowboys beat the Rams in the wild card and it changes that a little bit or something like that. But that'll just be a fun game to watch on wild card weekend. And yeah, I think that's kind of where things stand there. By the way, if you want the full list of Ravens injuries on IR this year, here it is. So we have quarterback Lamar Jackson, running back J.K. Dobbins, running back Justice Hill, running back Gus Edwards. Currently, Hollywood Brown is questionable to play, but, you know, it's an injury that happens to be there. Potentially future Hall of Fame offensive tackle Ronnie Stanley, other offensive tackle Alejandro Villanueva, also gone for an extended period of time. Center Tristan Colon is out on the COVID-19 list. Right tackle Jawan James out for season with an Achilles injury. We go over to the defense. Derek Wolfe, defensive end, out for season. Ardarius Washington, starting safety, out for season. Both of their starting cornerbacks out for season. Marlon Humphrey and Marcus Peters being their names. Linebacker Pernell McPhee out for season. Chuck Clark, safety, out for season for the Baltimore Ravens. Nick Boyle, questionable to play. Calais Campbell, doubtful to play. Starting guard Patrick McCarry, questionable to play on Sunday. Fullback Patrick Ricard, questionable to play on Sunday. I think I just listed about 14 to 15 of their 22 starters are either out for season, doubtful, or questionable to play at this point.
I literally feel like James Franco and that meme as a Niners fan talking to Ravens fans. First time